This is the Appliance Alliance podcast, where we are elevating the appliance industry, one podcast at a time. Hey guys, and welcome to the Appliance Alliance podcast. I am your host with the most equipment, Zach Ryder. And if you didn't know it, it says it on the hat. It is official, the Appliance Alliance host with the most. Alongside of me, as always, the man with a plan. He needs no introduction, but I give him one every week anyway. Mr. TK Cousins.
What's going on, everybody? Got another podcast coming at you this week. We're super excited about this topic because I think it's something that we've all either struggled with or, thought about a lot and put a lot of effort into in our jobs and our businesses and in what we do. It's going to be more geared towards, I guess, business owners, but we're going to be talking about pricing and how we price jobs and the different ways to price jobs and what's worked for us and what hasn't. But before we get into all that, we do want to touch up with a little bit of housekeeping and a couple little reminders for everybody that might be new to the Alliance or maybe just joined the podcast recently. First and foremost, we want to let you guys know that we are going to be doing a Virginia meetup. A lot of the Alliance members are planning to come to Virginia in July. The date is going to actually be July 10th. Which is a Saturday.
Super excited. Super excited.
It's going to be cool,
that.
man. Yeah, I'm really excited about it too. Not just because it's in my home or in my area, but it'll just be cool to meet up with some of the guys and gals. I know there's already a couple of gals said they were going to show up.
We definitely had a better response at that than Chicago. But, it's Chicago and it's cold up here, so. Although we had a beautiful day for that meetup. That was a great time.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that meetup. That's what made me really want to do one here. But yeah, the meetup's going to be July 10th in Virginia Beach, Virginia. I'm going to be there all weekend. I'm not sure if I'm going to come down Thursday or Friday. But I'm pretty sure me and Zach and EJ will be there all weekend. Hopefully Justin's going to show up. We've invited we've invited everybody, so anybody that wants to come is more than welcome.
I think Taz is actually going to come down, and we'll jump into Taz here in a minute. But yeah, I think he's actually going to come down.
Oh,
I'm excited to meet him.
Yeah, dude, Taz is awesome. I can't wait to meet him. That's the cool thing about these meetups is like you see all these people on Facebook all the time, and you don't know them. You get to know them a little bit through Facebook, and you get to know people a little bit better in like the round tables and all that stuff. But then once you actually get to like meet them in person and shake their hands and give them a hug and hang out with them, that's what it's all about for me.
Well, and phone calls too, right? Like, because you and I probably talk 3, 4, 5 times a week at least. Same thing with EJ, and I probably talk to Taz just about as much, but like actually meeting you in person, it is a little bit different, but you do, yeah. I mean, you just, those friendships really do start to develop. So if you have a chance to come out to that meetup, July 10th in Virginia Beach, definitely do that. Stay tuned for more details. It's going to be really cool. Speaking of Taz, we have a couple reminders here. We have the Appliance Alliance group mastermind, whatever, roundtable. Thank you. My brain is fried today. Roundtable on Thursday nights. So that is on Zoom. I believe Alex is he back to running them, or it's kind of informal?
EJ's been running.
Okay.
EJ ran them last week. I don't know if EJ's going to be running it this week. Alex was in the process of moving.
Right.
So I don't know who's going to run it this week. If nobody is available, I'll be more than happy to run it. I don't always make those, but when I do enjoy them.
Yeah.
So they are really good, especially if you're a new business owner. I highly recommend it.
They are a good time. And then Friday night, Taz just started doing a roundtable for appliance flippers. So if you are buying, selling, reconditioning appliances and getting them out to your customers, Friday night, there is a Zoom roundtable. I'm kind of helping Taz lead that. I'm teaching him how to grow and build one of those roundtables. That's a lot of fun. I'm gonna step back a little bit more this week, but still be there to kind of like training wheels. It's kind of like training wheels. He said to me last week, he's like, "Dude, I don't know how to run a meeting. I don't have any idea what I'm doing." I'm like, "And I do."
Right.
um, but no, I helped him kind of fire it off, and he's feeling a lot more confident. So we're gonna let him lead a little bit more and kind of guide the conversation a little bit more. It was a really great conversation. You were there. It was we really enjoyed it. So if you haven't checked out the appliance flipper group and you are flipping appliances to sell to your customers, you need to do it. It's a pretty cool group too. So
Yeah, and you get the spectrum too, because we had the spectrum in there of, guys that were, selling stuff out of their garage all the way up to a dude who had several stores and was moving massive amounts of new and used appliances. So it was really cool.
massive amounts. That dude is a
Yeah.
new and used dealer, and yeah, he's slinging appliances left and right for sure.
Yeah, he's got it
Yeah,
going on.
that was cool, and it was really good to like get his perspective and feedback from him. So that was super cool. So
Oh yeah, and we wanted to make a formal apology for last week's episode.
yeah, I did my best with that audio, but the internet on TK's side was just fighting us, and my audio was actually fighting
Yeah.
us before we did the meeting, so it was all kind of rushed and thrown together, and then we're just like, send it, It's one of those moments. Hold my beer
Yeah.
and send it. Yeah, we
Right.
apologize. That was horrible. We're sorry.
Yeah, we won't let any more like that slip through the cracks. If they sound that bad in the future, we'll just
Yeah, the
re-record it.
biggest thing that we have going is we're trying to get back on the saddle. Usually we're 2 to 3 episodes ahead. We got nothing in the bank, so we are
Right. So we got to start
yeah, we
cranking
are
them out.
recording for the week coming. So, but we're getting there. We are working on lining up guests so that we can be a couple days ahead of time. So, should be good. And so far everything seems like it's functioning properly. Knock on wood. Should be a good episode tonight. So we're going to talk a little bit about pricing. One of the things that when you guys came into town, you were helping me with. I have been time parts and materials for a very long time because that's all I knew how to do was time parts and materials. If you're not familiar with that, service call, labor by the hour, and then whatever the parts and tax are. And you get a lot of jobs turned down that way if you don't know. Because I think it's confusing a customer. So TK, you are a flat rate, a very flat rate. Like you don't even
Yep.
break it down for the customer. You're just like, here you go.
Well, I do break it down for them. Like I'll let them know how much the repair is, and the service call is included in the repair. Is basically how I word it. I don't do a free service call, but I tell
It's
them,
included.
if the job is 150, your $85 service call is included in that. And then the part is $75 and your total is going to be
Right.
225 or whatever. And that's always worked for me. What the improvement that I'm working on right now for that is actually putting in writing all of my pricing. So basically, I'm doing washer machine, basic repair. Basically, what I do is a three-tier pricing system. You have a basic repair, you have a moderate repair, and then you have an extensive repair. Basic repair covers anything from 125 to 160. Um, a moderate repair covers anything from 160 to 200, and then an extensive repair is 200 and up. So, your basic, and it gives once I get some technicians on the road, it gives my technicians a little more leeway to price a job at 160 to try to sell it at 160 if he can, or 150 or whatever, rather than just the 125 that we've always done. Is kind of the way I look at it. And the customer likes it because if you're doing an $85 service call and you come in there and say, hey, it's going to be 145 plus parts, the 85 is the 80. What's
My
going on
camera
over there,
keeps
man?
going in and out of Zoom. It's tripping me out.
Oh, okay. I was wondering.
Yeah, all of
You're
a
like,
sudden,
like Matrix.
that wasn't your eyes, my friend. I did really go blurry.
Okay, yeah, I was just checking. But yeah, so that's basically how we do it. I've noticed since I've started doing the tier pricing, which I haven't 100% implemented it yet, but I am, I am using the terminology more. Ma'am, this is a basic repair. Our basic repairs run from, I don't even say what it runs from. I say our basic repairs are usually around 150 and go from there. And some of them are 125. If I go in and do a lid switch on a direct drive washing machine, I'm charging 125 plus part because it takes me literally 5 minutes to do that
Right.
job and I'm out the door. And my prices are low. Like I know that I have room to go up on my prices, but I can always go up. I don't ever want to have to come back down from going up. I just want to build it up. And when I started, I was a $65 service call, and now I'm at
Yeah.
85. So that was a big
We
jump for me.
we finally raised our labor rates, time, parts, and material last year for the first time in like 12 years. We raised our service call rate the year before that for the first time in like 20 years. And we got a lot of pushback. And then we went to this flat rate pricing on encouragement from the mastermind group. And like the numbers that we're prattling off, they're pretty well based in what Blue Book pricing is. Like we're with TK, myself, EJ, like we're all pretty well within what the Blue Book is saying these particular repairs should cost. If you're not familiar with Appliance Repair Blue Book, it is a industry standard across the country based on what particular repairs should cost. And we're all pretty well in line with it. Yeah,
I'm well below Blue Book.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
Yeah, I'm considerably below.
EJ got
Blue
me
Book.
up to the Blue Book pricing, which is where I should have been. I was bleeding money because we were doing time, parts, and material. We were losing a lot of jobs that way. I feel like Blue Book, like here's how I explain it. You walk into the mechanic, and the mechanic goes, "It's $600 to repair your truck," and you go, "Okay." Like, you don't really question it too much, right? And then you get the invoice, and you're like, okay, that makes sense. There's shop labor, and, it took them 4 hours to do this, and, it didn't take them 4 hours to do this, but that's what the book says that it should take to do that particular job, and then it was X amount in parts. But you don't really question it. Well, the same can be done if done properly. We'll get to that in a minute. Done properly for appliance repair. You posted the other day about a guy, and I think both sides are at fault on that, but we don't. The pump guy, the guy that he could not replicate it, and something about charging $800 for a pump or some crap like that. It was the video that yeah.
Oh, that hidden camera video. Yeah, I was actually thinking it would be what's his name? Brandon on TMM. He did like reaction video on his YouTube page to that. I thought that was actually pretty cool. But the one that he did, I don't know if you've seen this one, but there's one where this dude is working on a dishwasher and he pees in a cup out of the sink, sitting
What?
in the floor working on the dishwasher. Yeah, yeah, dude. He freaking pees in a cup, dumps the pee into the customer's sink, and then sets the cup back in the sink.
Oh, wow. I don't really have words for that
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
This conversation just went in a place that I
I
wasn't
almost thought
expecting
it
it to
was
go.
I almost thought it was fake. Like when I first watched it, I was like, "Hold on, man. Did this dude I'll send you the video. It's on TMM Brandon's page, but yeah, dude straight up pees in a coffee cup and then dumps it in the sink. Well, how did we start talking about
Because
this?
so there's this thing with customers now that they want to try and get us on hidden camera that we're ripping them off. Um, but here's the thing: you talked about it a little bit this
Oh,
morning,
right.
and I didn't get to respond to your live video, so I'm going to respond to you in the podcast. Um, the way that I handle that situation, so you
All
have
right.
a customer who says, "Well, hey, this." The best example of it is a washer won't drain, right? Because that's what all these stupid videos are. And it's not that they're stupid. There are genuinely, don't misunderstand us. There are some genuine scumbags out there. And you know who you are. Get the out of the business because you're giving the rest of us a bad name. Those are the
Yeah.
guys that the Appliance Alliance
Right.
and gals, because some of them are women too. You are the people that the Appliance Alliance we're looking to push out. We don't want you in our industry. You are scum. Leave. Okay. There are
Right.
people genuinely defrauding customers, and we do not want that. Get out. But we've all had a situation where a customer calls us up and says, my washer won't drain. This is probably the most familiar one of it. My washer won't drain. And you go out there and you do everything you possibly can to replicate that situation, and you can't make it happen. So you charge them a service call and you leave. You get a phone call 3, 4, 5 days later, 2 days later, next day, whatever it is, my washer won't drain again. So you go back out there. And now how I handle it, I make them start the load before I get there so that by the time I get there, it's close to the final cycle. And they've started it. So if there's customer error, anything like that, we've done everything to eliminate. I don't know how many times you've run into it, but I have run into it a bunch of times where even doing that, I get out there and the dang thing drains and the customer goes, "Oh, you got to be kidding me. This thing never drains," and you come out and it's draining. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
this is what I found yesterday. I don't know how to replicate, And so by the time you get to the third time, you're like, all right, listen, I'm going to put a drain pump in because I don't know what else to do. Or I'm going to put a control board in because I got some hinky. I don't know what else to
Right.
do. You've called me 3 times and you've watched 3 times that it works while I'm out here. And I think it's a communication piece, right? I think it's all in how that you're communicating it to the customer, because I am very clear with the customer. I don't just want to throw a part at it, but I can't keep coming back out. So what would you like me to do? My suggestion is we try a
Right.
drain pump because
Yeah.
maybe it's failing, or we try a control board because maybe, you have a relay that's intermittently sticking, something like that. What would you like to do? Because I can't keep coming back out. I now have to charge you for something. That's how I handle it.
Right.
How do you handle it?
Yeah, and that's basically how I handle it too. But one thing that I've started doing is because I don't know if I get them. I don't know if I get those kind of calls more than other people, but I get them a lot. And what I've started doing is taking extremely detailed notes in my dispatch. And it, like, for instance, if it's, just because that's a really good example, the washer not draining, in that if I go out and there's no mechanical failure, I write no mechanical failure. And then underneath of it, I write if recall, bring drain pump, or if recall, bring water valve, or if recall, bring control board. And that way, when my CSR gets the call in, there's a note at the top of that call that says, if recall, bring this or order this. And then she puts it on my to-do list to
Right.
order the drain pump for Miss Jackson or whatever. And I've actually found that really helps. And when I go back out, I don't just slap the drain pump on. I check everything, and and sometimes
And there's the difference, right? There is the difference. You are communicating with the customer. You are trying
yeah,
to diagnose
yeah, and that's what you got to
first.
let them know. Like just like what you said, you got to be upfront with them. Like, look, every time I've come out here, it's worked perfectly fine. I was like, the most likely candidate is your drain pump. And the way that we do things in my company is we never charge the customer for anything that doesn't fix their appliance.
100%.
So if we put the drain pump on and it actually ends up being the control board, we don't that cost of that drain pump goes towards their control board.
Right.
And a lot of people don't do it that way, but I think it's more than fair. But the customers love it, and if you can't afford to do that, then you're not doing something right.
Yeah, no, that's exactly how we do it. And that's exactly why we're not doing washers anymore. Because
Dude, washers are the worst with
dude,
that.
our dishwashers and washers in my area are horrendous, and I think it's our water. We sit on a really bad sulfur bed in northern Illinois, and my camera just went retarded again. Hold on.
Oh yeah, it did. I see. It's all fuzzy.
Whoo, there we go. I'm back. Okay. So in our area, we got like this nasty sulfur bed, and washers and dishwashers just do not handle up here in Illinois. JT, who's down in Tennessee, my buddy, he loves Bosch dishwashers. He sees maybe one a year. He's Bosch authorized. He has a Bosch in his house. He loves the heck out of a Bosch dishwasher. I was seeing 2 or 3 or 4 a week of the Bosch dishwashers. They were failing that badly up here in my area. And that doesn't include the ones that we turned away. And so I think my area, it's a lot to do with the water.
So
I
y'all's
think
water's
everywhere
hard? Is
has
that what it
different
is?
things that they experience. But it's hard. It's filled with sulfur. And if you don't know what sulfur
Yeah.
does to a control board or
Huh.
electronics,
That's a
it's
blessing and a
bad.
curse, I
It
guess.
is bad what sulfur does. Uh, yeah. It's more a curse if you're an appliance guy, because you end up with a lot of recalls that are,
Yeah, that sucks.
there's nothing you did. It's not actually a recall. It's something else. Yeah. That's why those are gone. Yeah, so flat rate pricing, being honest with a customer, like, and that's where flat rate comes in handy, is
Right.
and is better for your business. I'm moving on to the next step, because otherwise we're gonna get bogged down in details. But it's communication piece, right? You are communicating effectively with the customer. You are treating the customer with a fair thing, right? You send a new guy out, and that job is going to cost the same if you did it or if your new guy did it. So if it takes him 3 hours to do it and it takes you 30 minutes
Yep.
to do it, it's still the same
That's the
price. You're
key.
not getting charged for the
And
3
that's how
hours
you
that it
have to
took the
pitch
new
it
guy
to the
to do it.
customer. Like
You know?
I'll
Yeah.
give you a perfect example. I had a lady I went out on, and I quoted her a really good price. It was like 175. It was like it's either 175 or 200, and I had fixed her fridge and looked at her Fisher Paykel wall oven and diagnosed a bad control board, and the control board was no longer available. I charged her like $200. She was a referral from someone, from my partner, someone that knew my partner, and she called my partner and said something. And she said something to me while I was there, and I just basically explained it to her like this. I said, "Ma'am," I said, I charge a flat rate pricing. I said, if I come in here and I got this taken care of quickly, I said that's good for you and it's good for me. I said, now if I'd have sent a brand new technician in here, who was still learning and not as experienced as I am, and he'd have taken 3 hours doing this, would you have wanted me to charge you by the hour? And she was like, well, no. She was like, but I don't make, I don't make $200 an hour. I was like, well, ma'am, I didn't make $200 an hour. I charged you for a part. I charged you for a trip fee. I said, there's overhead. I said, there's expenses. I said, I don't make $200 just coming out here. I said, and then she called my partner like the next day and was complaining about it. And my partner was like, he only charges you $200 for that? I would have charged you $250. You should be glad he came out instead of me.
Yep. Yeah, that's what a lot of customers don't understand. They think that everything is going into the technician's pocket or whoever.
Yeah, and I think about it like this: if I have your part on my truck, and you're a first call complete, I don't say this to the customer technically, but you're renting that space on that truck for that part. Every single square inch of my van is precious space. And the fact that I come to your house and I have your drain pump or I have your lid block or I have your ice maker, you're going to pay a little bit more for that part and for my service because I've rented that space out for that part and you're going to pay for it.
Yep. Or if we answer your
or get to you with same or next day service, which we often do. All that stuff is valuable.
Yeah. Yep. But they don't see it that way. They don't understand it. So it's all about customer education. It's all about how you educate your customers.
And
and flat rate is a good tool to
I was going to say, and don't take my little cocky arrogance is I was just showing as how you should treat the customer. That's not at all how I treat my customer. I'm completely humble and I'm completely professional and explain it in a professional manner. Yes, ma'am, I understand, but this, that, and the other. And I'll tell you this: 9 times out of 10, my customers don't bat an eye at my prices. They're like, oh, that's super fair. Do it. And I will say this: make sure you're giving these prices before you do the repair. Say, look, ma'am, your drain pump's failed. It's going to be $150 for the repair plus the part. The part is $75. You're going to be looking at a total of $225, and then they'll say yay or nay. That's one thing I had to correct about my approach because I'd go in there, I'd just fix it. Like if it was either lid switch, bam, slap the lid switch. All right, it's all fixed. And I'm like, what do you mean it's all fixed? They hadn't even given me a price. So that's something I've had to train myself to do, and I'm trying to train the new guys that we hire. I'm trying to teach Tori now, and because my partner, he used to do the same thing. He'd just go in there and fix it. Because a lot of his customers are those customers that have been around for years. And he's serviced them 100 times, and he knows that they're going to fix it. So, and then you'll have that occasional customer who's like, I don't care how much it costs. My wife just needs her washer machine working.
Yeah, well, I mean that was my customer today. My big thing that I have to learn is that when I go past the half an hour of diagnosis, I need to go and communicate to the customer, hey, this is going to take longer and it's going to cost you more than the $85 because that $85 gets you half an hour diagnostics, and you decided to buy a ridiculous machine that's going to cost a lot more to diagnose because it doesn't want to do what it should do.
Right.
Again, not said in that manner. But you know what I mean. Yeah, so you do get those odd customers. I mean, my second job of the day was like just shy of an $800 job on a couple of appliances with parts and labor and everything else. And the other appliances were add-ons while I was in the house. And so it was just, it was a very profitable day. But the guy didn't bat an eye because I communicated ahead of time what was going on. I was very clear. And he was actually a customer. He had called us over a month ago, and we got trapped in the Whirlpool dishwasher motor and sump being on back order. And 9 times out of 10, if a customer says it fills with water and it drains, but it doesn't do anything in between, guess what it is? It is that motor and sump. That motor is smoked. And most of the time when I go on those, I find that the diverter is crap, and you can only get the diverter seal if you buy the entire thing. So I just sell the whole job. I sell the entire motor and sump assembly.
Yeah, somebody told me that you can
Then
get that seal now, but I don't remember who said that.
I have not seen it listed separately. If someone has that, let me know, because that was the most obnoxious thing. You used to be able to get it separately. Then they made it where it's only in the sump. If it's available separately again, that's because that stupid diverter leaks on a regular basis.
I just did one of those. I just got my Whirlpool dishwasher motor pumps, and I had 2 of them on order. Exact same one. I did one the other day, and I got another one I think to do tomorrow. I love that job.
Yeah, dude, I can do that in like 20 minutes. So I talked to him over a month ago, and I said, listen, it's going to be this, and it's on a back order with no ETA. Do you want me to waste your time today, or do you just want me to order the part, make sure I have the control board just in case, because that's actually available, and then we'll come out. Oh, yeah, let's just wait. Okay, perfect. Got it on order, got out there, got it knocked out. While I was there, he goes, hey, can you look at my microwave? It's convection built-in. They're essentially a countertop. But I took care of some stuff on there for him while I was out there. He ended up needing the board and the motor and sump and door switches, and but I communicated before I did the work. And the guy was really happy about how all that went down. So, and by doing flat rate pricing, because I knew what those jobs should be and I wasn't going time, parts, and materials, I actually made a little bit more money than I would have doing time, parts, and materials. And it made my time worth it. And I was able to treat the customer in a much better manner because I wasn't so worried about how dang long the job was going to take.
Yeah, and I'll say this too. If you're just starting your business and you're just getting started, like EJ is the perfect example of this. Start writing down your pricing structure. Start writing down all these different things that you do in your business. Oh, and shout out to EJ for the awesome hats. We're both rocking tonight. Rocking our new lids. But yeah, that's one thing that we've been working on in the mastermind, and that I've been working on personally, is writing out my pricing tiers and how they're structured, and how and all the way down to, like, when you go onto my washer pricing guide, there's so when a new tech goes on there, it says washer machine pricing guide. At the very top it says technicians, please have all repairs authorized prior to completing repair, or whatever. And then it has additional charges, and stacked dryer is an additional charge, or in a pan is an additional charge, or there's all these little things that if you don't spell it out for a new technician, because if you're a one-man show now, hopefully your goal is to one day be a multiple technician company. But if you don't spell these little things out in writing on your pricing guide and on your different policies and procedures that you write out, they're not going to think of that in their head. They're not going to think, oh, I got to unstack a dryer, I need a second man or an all dolly. That all dolly comes out of the van. There's an extra charge for that. That wall oven needs to be pulled. There's an extra charge for that. So the basic,
those air sleds come out. There's an extra charge for that, because those things are expensive.
Stuff's not free, and we invest in our tools, and our tools pay us, and they also wear, and we have to replace them. So all that stuff has to be priced out and shown, and we as technicians have to think about what are the possibilities that we could run into. Just like that Samsung that I went out on the other day, I couldn't get that daggone bolt off that rotor. And dude, I was freaking beating on that thing with a MIDI sledgehammer. I tried 4 different things. I tried the socket with the mini sledge. I have this, I don't even know what you call this tool. I'll show it to you one day, but it's got like a little thumb thing on it and it tightens up and loosens and it's shaped like a bolt, or a nut. And, I tried that thing with the mini sledge. No luck. Then I got the friggin' pipe wrench out. No luck. Like I was there for an hour and 25 minutes on that washer. This should have taken me 45 minutes. And and then when I got done, I just had to tell her, like, look, I gotta come back. Like, I don't know, I gotta go get a cutting torch or something.
That's an important thing for you guys to realize. Like, if you get too deep in a job, don't be afraid to tell the customer that you have to walk away. Because you being in their house pissed off at an appliance doesn't serve
Yeah,
anyone. It really doesn't. That's one of the things that I have had to teach. That is probably the hardest lesson that I've had to teach guys along the years as they come and train, is that if you're frustrated, if there's an issue, get your butt out to the truck, reassess the situation, and my camera just went out again. Hold on. Get out to the truck, reassess the situation.
for once in the history of Appliance Alliance, Zach is having technical issues.
Zach is having more technical issues than TK, but we are 40 minutes into this podcast, and I think it's done with us. No, but go out to the truck, assess the situation, figure out what's going on, regroup, and if you have to, tell the customer, listen, I'm going to have to schedule with you another day. I'm going to have the office give you a call, get you back on the schedule, but I have to walk away from this for now. I need to get some different tooling, or I need a, whatever the case is. But take that moment in the truck to reassess
Yeah,
the situation.
that's a big
That
one.
is,
Sometimes that's all it takes. What Austin taught me this when I was training. He said, "Man, he said sometimes you're going to go out on a job and you're going to be so pissed off and you're going to be so frustrated." And he told me, he said, "Just go out to the truck and take 5 to 10 minutes and just cool off. And you'll be surprised how many times I've done that. Just went out to the truck, turned some music on, called a few people, explained to them what I'm trying to deal with, and then you get a game plan of attack back in your head. Now, sometimes you do just need to reschedule. Like that one the other day, there was no sense in me continuing to do it. And when I reschedule it, I will reschedule it at the end of a day so that I'm not rushed to get out of there. I don't have any other jobs to get to. I'd like to get home quick, but you know, it just is what it
right.
is. But we should probably wrap this thing up, huh?
Well,
We've been running for like 40 minutes.
yeah, we're over 40 minutes now, but yeah, I mean that's why I put a time limit with Tony. I told Tony, if you don't have a diagnosis in half an hour or you haven't repaired it in half an hour, you need to
Yep.
call me. Go out to the truck, take a minute and reset, set a timer. Literally, walk in the house, set a timer for half an hour. And if you don't have a diagnosis or you haven't finished the repair in half an hour and it should have taken half an hour, go out to the truck, take a minute, listen to some music, and give me a call. Let's walk through the situation together and figure out how we can find a better way, or if we need to reschedule, or if you need an extra hand up.
Yeah.
So it is important to do that. That is a very hard skill to learn. If you haven't started practicing that, now's a great time. It's going to save you a lot of headache and a lot of heartache, because that will raise your blood pressure really dang fast.
Yeah, absolutely.
So anyway, before we start prattling too much more, we should probably wrap this thing up.
Yeah.
You got any closing thoughts for us, Mr. TK?
No, I will say this. Just know your worth out here. We are, we if you are a skilled, trained appliance technician, know your worth. If you're some jackleg out there that's learning on the job and learning as you go, you're not worth very much to begin with, to be perfectly honest with you. But if you're a skilled technician and you have experience and you've paid your dues, know your worth and charge accordingly. Um, and if you're not a skilled technician, that should be your only goal, is to get there. which we won't get into that. That's a whole nother prattle.
You know what? We should.
Don't do it, Zach.
We need to get we need to get Appliance Alliance stickers like the Better Business Bureau. Just get that Appliance Alliance triangle and stick it on the side of our trucks. And if you see a truck rolling up with Appliance Alliance on the side, guess what? They're the real deal.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. I actually really like that.
We will work on that. Actually, that really is our goal. You and I have been talking about that. We'll dig into that more on another prattle. That's a whole nother conversation. But we are here, just like we've said at the beginning. It's part of the intro reel. We are raising the bar. We are elevating the appliance repair industry, one podcast at a time, one conversation at a time, one meetup at a time, one, you name it, at a time. Everything that we do is to elevate the appliance repair industry. And if you ain't on board, you're about to get bowled over. So, with that, we love you guys. We are glad to be back. We are getting back into the groove, and we look forward to getting some more content out to you guys. That's all we got. Appliance Alliance, signing off.